Good morning, everybody. Myself G. Channaya, PGD Biology, Jawahar Navodaya Vidyalaya, Valasapalli, Chittoor district, Andhra Pradesh. So today, I am going to discuss about the general characters of gymnosperms. So when you see the gymnosperms, what are the main characters of gymnosperms? The gymnosperms are naked, seeded plants. Gymno means naked, sperme means seeded plants. So these are known as a naked seeded plants. The plants which will have ovules are not close any ovary. The root of generally tapered systems because the main root have lateral roots are there. The root is some general have fungal association in the form of mycorrhiza. So when you see these plants of pinus, the pinus plants have mycorrhiza. The mycorrhiza will grow takes place inside the plant body. When you see the example of cycas, the cycas plants have specialized roots called coralloid roots are associated with nitrogen fixation of cyanobacteria. When you see the gymnosperms are a group of plants which produce seeds that are not contained with an ovary or fruit. They do not have any flowers, but they have cones. They are known as a male cones and female cones. Seeds are not formed inside a fruit. They are found in colder regions where their snowfall occurs. These are the seed-bearing plants. They are known as a spermatophytes, where the ovules are not enclosed in the ovary, and hence the seeds are naked, not enclosed by fruits. The plants respect the diploid sporophytic phase in the life cycles. They may be moderate size of or tall plants. Most of the gymnosperms are tall trees. The largest gymnosperm is sequoia. It is known as a redwood tree. The plant body is different to root, stem, and aerial leaves. When you see the example of cycas and the pinus plant, when you see the plant of cycas, it has cones. So this is a pinus plant. It is also cone there. This is the leaves. You can also see. So when you see these plants, the roots are mostly tap roots, but they have become associated with some other fungal organisms. When you see the example of pinus roots, it has mycorrhiza. The mycorrhiza, they will go into the roots of these plants. These mycorrhiza are the fungus. The mycorrhiza, they can absorb the phosphorus, they can supply to the plant body. So when you see the mycorrhiza, a mycorrhiza is a symbiotic association between green plant and fungus. The plant makes organic molecules such as sugar and photosynthesis and supply them to fungus. The fungus supply to the plant water and minerals and nutrients, and such nutrients are known as phosphorus. So these mycorrhiza, they can supply the phosphorus to the plant body. So when you see the cycas, this is a cycas plant. So these are the leaves and this is a cone. So these cycas plants have roots cortically, cells, Haber, cyanobacteria like nostoc and anabina. The roots are specialized for nitrogen fixation. They are much more branch like structures. They are called coralloid roots. They develop need like leaves. This, when you see the leaves of the cycas plants, they looks like needle-like structures. They are perennial woody plants forming trees and bushes. They have naked seeds and the ovules are not enclosed by an ovary wall and remain exposed. They do not differentiate the ovary, style and stigma. So you cannot find out difference between ovary and style and stigma. Since the stigma is absent, they are pollinated directly by the wind. So most of these plants are stigma is absent. That's why they will do the pollination by the help of wind. So that's why they are known as wind pollinated plants. The male gametophyte produce two gametes, but only one of them is functional. They form coats with repetitive structures. The seeds contain endosperm. The endosperm is a tissue which are located inside the seeds, and they can store the food materials, nutrients for development of the plant body. So these endosperm, they can help to store the nutrients and they can help to growth of the plant body. The plants have vascular tissue which help in transportation of nutrients and water from one place to another place in the entire part of the plant body. Xylem does not have any vessels. The phloem has no companion cells and save tubes. The stem is unbranched in cycas, dichotomously branched in Ginkgo biloba. One of the plant is there, Ginkgo biloba. These plants have dichotomous and profusely branched coniferous. The leaves are simple in needle and Ginkgo biloba and profusely branched and coniferous. The leaves are simple in needle and Ginkgo biloba, needle-like in coniferous also in pinus. The large and pinnate compound leaves in cycas, the cycas you can identify a large pinnate compound leaves are there. The leaves show xerophytic adaptation characters. The cuticle have thick in nature, sunken type of stomata. So the transverse tissue and needle-like leaves to reduce the surface area of the transpiration. They have well-developed vascular tissue. The xylem tracheids and phloem has cells. Xylem vessels are seen in a needle. The gymnosperms are heterosporous and produce a smaller microspores. They are known as a male gametes, and a large one is known as a female. They are known as a megaspores. At maturity, certain leaves become modified into sporophylls. The sporophylls are compactly arranged into cones and strobili. The plant body have male cone and female cones. They are also known as a sorus, also known as a strobili. The sporophytes bears the sporangia and the spores are produced within sporangia. The sporophylls are mainly two types in the gymnosperm plants. One is the microsporophylls, megasporophylls. The microsporophylls are known as a male cone and the megasporophylls are known as a female cone. So these microsporophylls, they can develop the microspores. These are known as haploid cells. The megaspores are known as a female cones and they can develop the ovule. They are also develop the megaspores. The male and female cones may occur in the same plants. That's why they are known as a monoecious. Very good example, pinus. Some other plants are having microsporophylls and a megasporophylls. Separate plants are there. They are known as dioecious. And you see in the example of cycas, they are known as a unisexual plant. The megaspora mainly consist of body called nucellus. It is protected by integments. A megaspore mother cell is differentiated from a cell nucleus and undergoes meiosis to form a tetrad megaspores, of which 3 generated cells. The functional megaspore undergoes repeated, will take the mitosis divisions and to develop a multicellular female gametophyte. The archegonia becomes differentiated and each contains one female gamete. The pollen grains are brought to the surface of nucellus during the pollination. So these pollen grains germinated and to form a male gametes that are carried by the pollen tube and discharged at the mouth of archegonia. So when the pollen grains are released, they will come and touch the archegonium. The fertilizer results in the zygote, which develops in the embryo. The ovules become transformed into seeds, and the female gamete is retained within the ovule, and the sporophyte plant embryo development also continue on these plants. When you see the cycles of gymnosperm plants, the life cycle of gymnosperm is both haploid and diploids. They produce through the alternate of generations. They have a sporophyte dominant cycles. The germinate phase is relatively short. The reproductive organs are usually cones. So most of gymnosperm plants that depends upon the sex organs or reproductive parts, male cone and female cones. When you see the male cones are known as the microsporophylls. They can develop the pollen grains. So these pollen grains they can fall on the female cone and they will take the fertilization. So after fertilization, it becomes an embryo. From embryo, they can develop the new plant. When you see the female cone, they are also known as a megasporophylls. They can develop the megaspore mother cells. So megaspore mother cell, they can have the megaspores. When you see, this is the male cone and these are the female cones. So the pollen grains certain air currents, each ovule from pollen tube, which reach archegonia and release male gametes. And we take the fertilization, it form a zygote and to produce the embryo. The ovule develop into seed which are not covered. The seed is not covered by any layers. So these are the, it is a seed. So when you see, this is a seed of gymnosperm plants. So when you see the what are the main key points of gymnosperms? The gymnosperms are non-flowering plants. It belongs to subkingdom Ambophyta. The seeds are not enclosed in the ovary or fruit. They are exposed on the surface of the leaf, like structure of the gymnosperms. So these are main general characters and a sexual reproduction and the gymnosperms. When you see the classification of gymnosperms, the gymnosperms are classified 4 groups: Conipharophyta, Cycadophyta, Zyngophyta, and Gnetophyta. These are main 4 class of gymnosperms. So first of all, let's see what do you mean by Conipharophyta? What are the general characters? The Conipharophyta, these organisms have roots, stems have, leaves also there, and they have xylem and phloem, the vascular tissue is there. The body have male cones and female cones are there. The ovules are produced only in the female cones. The seeds are produced and dispersed. The Conipharophyta do not produce any fruit. Fruit or seed together with a fruit wall developed by the ovary wall. It has maximum 100 meters are there. So when you take example of this is a pine tree. So this is the cones are there. These are leaves are there. This is a pine tree. So next one you see Cycadophyta. The Cycadophytes are known as a dioecious. They will grow tropical and subtropical habitat. They have pachyceal stem is there. They are girdling leaf trays are there. They have corallite roots, lap of axial birds, and they can open carpels. So when you see the example of cycas, this is a plant of cycas. The plants also you can see naturally, they will go to normal conditions. The male plant of cycas produce very year of a single male cone, that is the apex located. In the formation of male cone, the apical meristema is used up, and therefore the growth of stem checked by some time, and lateral apical meristems is formed at the base of the cones. Female produced organs are megasporophylls. Each female plant every year produce numerous megasporophylls. So when you see the example of a male cone in cycas and a female cone in cycas. So when you see compare between male cone and female cones. So next one you see Zyngophyta. So when you see the Zyngophyta, they are members of the division Zyngophyta. A group of gymnosperm plants are particularly interest of paleobotanists. 2 of 3 genera are there: Zyngophytes, Zyngoids, and Binera are exist plants. The third genus, Zingobiloba, has only 1 member. It is commonly called Zingotree or Zingobiloba. It is known as medern hair trees because of the resemblance of the bilobed leaves to those of the medern hair fan-like structures. Zingobiloba may be the oldest living seed plant. When you see the Zingobiloba, it has seeds are there. So this is the oldest plant in the gymnosperms. Fossil leaves with a similar form to venation to the Zingobiloba have found in the Jurassic period. So the Zingo is the process of long branch and short sparse branch-like structures. The leaves are produced on the long branches during the spring month. Zingobiloba is a deciduous, and the leaves of some varieties turn into beautiful golden color in the autumn time. The Zingo plant is dioecious. The male cone resemble small catkins and are made up of scale leaves, and they can develop the pollen grains. The female Gnetophyte have known as a female cone. They have archegonia, and it has nectar canal cells are there. And these archegonia, when the pollinators of all the archegonia, they can receive the pollen, they will take the pollination and the ovules. So after that, what happened? It will take the fertilization. The pollen is the ovules to the medium of the air. The method of fertilization is instead to be spinozooidogamy. It means the anthrozoids have multi-ciliated tube-like hair-like structures are there. That's why they are known as a spinozooidogamy. The polyamorine is often seen as the egg of almost all the archegonia are fertilized and produce embryo. So when you see the example of a Zingobiloba plant, so when you see Zingobiloba, these are Zingobiloba plants, it has leaves and the seeds are there. So when you see the life cycle of Zingobiloba, the plants, when you see the plant body, so it has by the help of sporophytes, they can also develop the new plants, and these pollen grains, and they can fall on the archegonium of the ovules. They will do the fertilization. After fertilization, they will do the zygote, and it form embryo and a seed. The seed can develop, they can develop the new plants. By the help of these methods, they can develop the new plants in Ginkgo biloba. When you see the other one is Ctenophyta. Ctenophyta plants are distinguished around the much more world. Mostly tropical and temperate climate regions are there. The genus Needham and the tropical distribution are found in South Asia, Northern South American and South Pacific and Western Africa. So these genus of the Needham plants available in these areas. The Xenophyte as members of the divisions, Xenophytes. When you see the three examples of plants are there, one is Epidra, Needham and Welwitschia. So these are most important plants in the Xenophyta. There are 65 species of genus are there. So Epidra 13 more number and Welwitschia plants also available in the nature. So when you see the Welwitschia, these are plants of Welwitschia, these are leaves, these are the cones are there. So when you see the vegetative organs, what are the main vegetative organs in these plants? Small trees and shrubs, climbers and shrubs are there. Branch, usually dioecious plants. Leaves are simple, opposite, and net vein or scale-like structure. The presence of true vessels in the secondary wood. So how the spores protect the plants? So when you see the flowers with a distinct perianth, micro and megasporangium stabile are there. Single integument of the ovules becomes elongated tube-like structures. Embryo with two cotyledons and copious endosperm. So when you see the example of these plants, Epidra, this is Needham, this is a plant of Needham, this is Welwitschia. When you see these plants, these plants are herbs and shrubs are there. Some of the tall plants also there. So thank you. Have a nice day.